I did a lot of hiding the cancer from my family and from myself. I wasn't really sick. I was certain I wasn't really sick.
You know, it's different from everybody, from person to person, but everybody say, you know, it's not as bad as they make it seem, and it's not as scary as it may have seemed.
I think those who support friends and family with cancer all have maybe different needs or different desires or different ways to encourage themselves and to encourage their loved one.
The idea is not become a cancer victim, but become the cancer conqueror.
I think hope is one of the most important aspects of anyone's, being.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Cabot Ray.
And I'm Robin Haynes. Tonight, we are taking you on a journey through the eyes of survivors, those on the front line of the fight against cancer.
Cancer is a disease that has touched every single one of us, from those who hear the words first to those helping them heal and move forward. And here in Central Ohio, we are especially fortunate to have an incredible resource to lean on, the Cancer Support Community.
Tonight, we'll learn about all the ways they can help. But first, let's hear from some of the people they've helped. These are the voices of hope. Now, cancer has become such a common disease these days that it's not surprising to hear of multiple family members being diagnosed. But the lack of surprise doesn't make it any easier to swallow the news. For one Columbus man, it wasn't the cancer itself he chose to fight, it was his outlook on the disease. Meet Nick Manitas and learn all about his cancering.
The history of cancer in my family has been it's a story in and of itself.
It's a story about a father, a mother, a daughter, a family with a lot of reasons to quit that never did. It's a story of hope. Nick Manitas is all too familiar with the word cancer, a word nobody likes to hear once, he heard often, starting in 1995 when his first wife, Jane, got lung cancer.
They gave her 6 months. She lived 3.5 years.
Nick credits a word he termed himself, cancering, the act of living with cancer rather than fighting it. He would use this word and this mantra again and again. He remarried, joining his wife Sandy's family with his own, 5 children together. Then he heard cancer again in 2005, his own daughter finding out she had breast cancer at the age of 32.
Well, then my daughter, Jennifer, she had a double mastectomy already. She was pregnant when she was diagnosed.
His baby about to have a baby. At this point, Nick turned to his faith and called an international prayer group to send well wishes to Jennifer and his soon-to-be granddaughter.
We had prayers sent from all over the world. Okay. The baby was born after 3 treatments of chemotherapy while the baby was still in the womb. The baby's name is Sophie. I call her my miracle grandchild.
Nick now has 9 grandchildren, but a special place for Sophie, the one who may never realize the light she brought in a time of darkness.
She doesn't understand that she probably saved her mother's life, because had she not been pregnant, they would not have caught this cancer early enough.
Then in 2006, it was Nick's turn. The diagnosis, multiple myeloma, a then incurable blood disease. But as you know, Nick takes his cancering very seriously.
I was very lucky. I started in a clinical trial, and they put me on a treatment at that time, which was reserved for multiple myeloma patients that had suffered relapses. And they wanted to try it as a first-line therapy for me.
It worked. 8 months later, Nick was in remission, feeling grateful, but still a bit empty.
I wanted to give back. And I contacted the International Myeloma Foundation, who supported me in setting up a support group.
From there, he found a home for that group with the Cancer Support Community in Columbus.
So we started having our meetings, and we had, I think, 8 or 10 people at the first meeting. We now have gone anywhere from 25 to 35.
They talk, listen, learn. From the patient to the caregivers to friends and family, everyone there is in the same boat, but with different experiences to share.
We don't run a pity party. We teach the group, my personal philosophy is take control of your disease. Found out that's the Cancer Center's personal philosophy too. So we went hand in hand.
Nick has been leading the Multiple Myeloma Network Group for 3 years now.
It's really neat because the first year I did most of the talking. Now it's like sitting in a large living room and I let them interact with each other.
He says their progress and his is obvious with the help of one little thing.
I believe it's critical that you somehow get hold of that feeling of hope.
Most of the time, it's your family members who are there for you in your time of need. They are the ones who cry with you, fight with you, and celebrate with you. And in the case of Kathy and Kathy, that is exactly what happened when one of the cousins learned that she had cancer twice. And the fight of one became the challenge of two.
The first time I was diagnosed, I was in Detroit, and my doctor did not think it was cancer. And he thought, you know, then he calls me at 3:30 on a Friday afternoon, and I knew it was bad news.
It was August 1997. Kathy Higgins had a feeling something was wrong, and she was right. Just 3 days after hearing the news, she was on the operating table.
When he said, you know, you need an emergency hysterectomy, and I go, well, like, what's an emergency? And he said, we'd like to do this Monday.
The surgery to rid her of uterine cancer was a success, but it wouldn't be the last time Kathy had to fight.
The only thing was he did tell me that he felt, it was his feeling, that cancer traveled up in the body. And so he said, don't be surprised if you end up with, you know, another cancer experience.
Despite trying a drug that at the time was thought to prevent breast cancer, Kathy still got the diagnosis. Another fight, 7 years after the first. But this survivor had enough strength to go around.
You know, I've always told everyone that is feeling bad that if you have a positive approach and try to feel positive about, you know, the outcome, that I think your chances are much better of beating it. And I do. I truly do feel that.
And so did her cousin, Kathy Whitson. The two rekindled their relationship when Kathy returned to Columbus in 2001, in between the two diagnoses. She said her cousin's outlook is the key to her success.
I think that's why you've stayed a whole person. Cancer didn't take part of you away. And you worked to stay as a whole person. And that's what I admire about Kathy, is that cancer really is not a part of her life anymore.
But the cancer support community is. Kathy and Kathy now see each other at least 4 times a week. They attend book club together there and yoga, a program they say has more value than meets the eye.
There is a sense of community in the classroom, okay, in your class. There is also a difference between, to me, fitness and wellness, and this is about wellness.
Wellness, strength, and inevitably hope. That's what the Kathys say it's all about.
I think hope is one of the most important aspects of anyone's, you know, being.
Hope. 4 letters with the amazing ability to change everything for the better. That's what led one Columbus woman to seek out the cancer support community of Central Ohio as she struggled to find answers and support. Next, hear the story of Erica Neal, a woman whose battle left scars that may never be healed.